More discussion of Apple's WWDC keynote. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by MacVoices After Dark. Uncensored, off-topic, and always off the wall. MacVoices After Dark is available as a benefit to our Patreon subscribers. Sign up at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is a second in a two-part conversation about Apple's WWDC keynote and all of the announcements. Let's go back and let the panel do the talking. Hey, we're going to start to run short on time if we're not careful here. So let's move on just for a second to the watch. Anybody excited about some of those things? Because I saw two that really caught my eye.
The new fitness tracking features. Oh, go ahead, Frank. It's all you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I was just going to say, I liked how they were progressing things like the AFib stuff. So now instead of just saying, "Oh, you may have AFib," now okay, we're acknowledging you have AFib. How can you keep almost like a diary of it that you could show your doctor? And I sort of like that. The scope of the health apps seems to be going more than, well, here, we're going to throw something at you, so this doesn't look right. You should go see your doctor. Now to a point that, okay, you know you have that. Here's a reading that you're getting that since you have that, you should not be getting that reading. So now see your doctor really quick.
Yeah. Jeff, what were you saying?
The new fitness tracking features are just primo, and enhancing what you can do for tracking. Say if you're out doing a walk or a run, or in my case, out on a hike. I mean that's absolutely fantastic. And tying into that, the sleep tracking features. The data that they're going to be collecting with the new sleep tracking features. I mean, as they were showing that, I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. I'm getting that data today, but not through my Apple Watch. I have a product called Sleep Score Max. It sits beside my bed and uses sound waves, bounces them off my body, and collects the data that way. And the information, well, a lot of people like, whatever, if you slept enough because you know what time you went to bed and what time you get up. No, there's a lot more to it than that, especially if you're someone like me who has serious and very chronic sleep issues. And having that data is so useful. So seeing that level of detail come to the Apple Watch, I think that's fantastic.
And I hope it's as accurate as they say.
I hope so too. And here's a bonus for me, because I'm not going to stop using my Sleep Score Max because I don't like sleeping with a watch on. But when I'm traveling, now I can still collect the data that I don't get right now because I don't travel with the Sleep Score Max. It's not big, but it's too bulky to travel with.
Warren, you were up next.
I've got to go. I've got to sign off.
Oh.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, everyone. Great.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll
see you, Mark.
Next time.
Thanks, Mark. Okay. Sounds good. Take care.
Next week.
See you.
Luck.
Bye.
Oh yeah, my ears picked up when I heard about the medicine tracking part of it.
Oh yes,
that was right in my ballpark realm. So I take a lot of medicine and different times of the day, and it's a pain in the butt. I actually looked at some things from Amazon. I almost bought a few things that kind of like are like, there's a smart pillbox thing out there that I almost bought. It got bad reviews, so I didn't do that. So this is good. This is something I'm gonna definitely look into. It also, I've noticed that Apple Health, you could tie it. I don't know if you guys did this yet, but in Apple Health, you could tie it to your pharmacy and your doctor. And when you do that, you start to get notifications about. You start to get notifications about your medicines and things like that. So keep working on that part of it, and I think it's that's going to help me a lot.
Yeah, the medications thing was great. Right now, I use the calendar And I just sort of out of memory the night before, I know which meds I take at which time. So I put them in my pill box, and then I just put a red bar that says meds. But boy, if they came out with that medication feature, that would be phenomenal. Say, hey, you get over there and take it.
So up until last week, real fast, I used to pre-fill my medicines. I used to have the things you buy at CVS with the, Monday through Friday.
Little flip lids.
Yeah. Okay. So I did that for a while. And then my wife was like, you're screwing up, you're missing medicines. And the reason why you do that is because your pills don't get filled all at the same time. So you'll end up trying to fill up the thing and have to stop halfway through because you don't have enough of A or B. So I stopped doing that. I'm just going to put them in the basket and take them when I need it. So this is perfect timing. Something that's going to just tell me and ping me and say it's time to take this and this.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, and as someone who has managed in the past, has managed meds for older members of our family, this is the reason to buy the watch right there.
Yep.
Because, if you could have programmed that and said, okay, at 2:00, you're supposed to take this, at 4:00, you're supposed to take this, and have it pop up on their wrist. That would just be,
I wouldn't be shocked to
incredible.
See smart, Apple home, compatible devices that will store this stuff eventually and pop open the drawer or unlock that drawer that the pills is in for that time of day. Because that's what some of the Amazon things are doing now, just not well.
Yeah.
So I think this would be a good place to go with that.
But this would be something that, is on your wrist and is giving an alarm, and that to me was just absolutely amazing.
Well, I like what Warren's idea, and Chuck, tying it in with what you said, you get the alert on your wrist. Hey, it's time to take your meds. So you go into the kitchen or the bathroom or wherever you keep those meds, and the tray's open now with the right meds waiting for you.
There's things out there.
This isn't going to do that.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
My mother-in-law had that thing from, we had to rent it and the thing was stupid. It was like $10,000 and it kind of did it for you in that kind of sense. And I think that's what would be great actually for, as Chuck said, for the elderly, for something that will ring on the wrist and, basically the thing dispenses the medicines. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but it's a big machine where you put all your pills in there. And for the elderly and people who, have memory issues, it pops down the pills that you need at that point and makes a noise, ding, and then you come in and you take your pills. So this could be an evolution of that for everybody. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. Definitely. So let's see what I'm just checking my list. Oh, I wanted to definitely get to Brittany and ask her if she was satisfied with the mail announcements, since she was one that had, when we were talking about our pre-dub show, had said mail needed some help.
I haven't played with it thoroughly yet because this has been a busy day. However, the idea of having send later and having the follow-up with emails later, those sound spectacular. I am excited to dig in a little bit more, but I have not explored it enough to pass judgment yet, if that's fair.
Okay. So it may be coming.
The Brittany seal of approval.
We'll see. I have it. I'll play with it.
Kelly, my whole metaphor of starting and going round robin and asking folks what impressed them just fell apart after about 2 minutes. What anything really strike you out of things we haven't talked about yet that we should be paying attention to?
Well, I got pulled away, so I don't know if we've covered this or not, but the end of passwords in certain circumstances is really exciting to me.
Yeah.
We have not.
As a person who supports many users as part of my day job, I have spent a lot of time helping with the aftermath of phishing schemes and scams and spend a lot of time explaining some of that stuff to people. And so having the opportunity to eliminate that, because in most circumstances, you're not going to know even what the password is. The actual credentials are between, the Lord and your phone. And not only that, but if you try to enter it into a website that is not the website that those credentials were issued for, it simply will not work. And the reason that's magical is because if you are going to that website on another device, like I think a friend's PC was the thing that they were saying, but you have that credential on your phone, you can still log in. And that part looks amazing. And I'm really excited about that because Apple is doing that thing that they occasionally do that they're very good at with something like Time Machine. Like everybody needs to back up. We need to make sure it's happening regularly. We're going to give the world this utility. All you have to do is feed it a hard drive and it will hang out in the background and let you and always be backing up and doing what it needs to do for you. And you don't have to worry about it until you need it. I think that's really exciting. And the fact that you can, that this is a security feature and that, the end of passwords for a lot of enterprise situations, there are a lot of things that are a lot easier. Lots of people use a single sign-on provider or an identity provider in some way in order to make sure that things are secure, that we're tracking access so that only the people who need access to that resource are actually getting access to that resource, et cetera, et cetera. And helping everybody as a general rule just make that better is a thing that I'm initially really excited for because I really want it to be a reality. The people who need to be implementing it the most, everybody's bank and everybody's credit union who are still saying you can't have a 12-character password, that's too many, are going to be the last people who actually roll out something like this, which I'm going to be very frustrated by. But having places do it so that it's easy and it's secure and it's not hackable, because you can't go enter your Facebook password into something that is not Facebook because you don't know it and your phone won't let you. That part is the part that is really amazing and I'm looking forward to very, very much.
Yeah, I agree. They buzzed. I mean, again, they buzzed through everything today, but they really ripped past that one. And I too am looking at it. I admit to just this much trepidation about giving up my password my passwords that I've crafted so lovingly. At 30 and 40 and 50 characters with password managers. So we'll see how that goes. Frank, I have
saving you the trouble, right? Of your you just let your password manager handle it. And then this is the same sort of thing. Now you just don't have to craft them. You just let the password manager handle your business for you. And that part, hopefully that part is the part that makes it worthwhile. That's my hope.
Yeah. Frank, how about you? Anything that we haven't touched on?
I got two things. One is something that impressed me. And two was something that they incorporated in the video that I'm one of the only people in the world noticed. One is I love what they're doing with dictation, that the punctuation is put in automatically. And I'll tell you why. I've got sausage fingers, and occasionally, I'll talk to somebody in my family or somebody on the phone or, a doctor's office or something. I swear to you, I will sometimes end a question and I will say question mark. People are like, what? And then a lot of times you just go, period. And all of a sudden people think you're pissed off. So that I thought was great. But the one thing I noticed, there was an Easter egg in the visuals today during the CarPlay segment. And I know how I forget the story of how Steve Jobs was involved with coming up with where the two hands of the clock were. But the clocks that were on the dashboard, both were at 19 of the hour. Remembering that Steve Jobs story, for the hell of it, I looked on my watch. It was exactly 19 of the hour. Yeah. They planned it. I thought no one's ever going to even have noticed that. But I just laughed my butt off.
A lot of my timeline noticed. Because a number of people said there's a whole lot of 941 in this presentation. And part of it was because they figured out that was exactly when they were going to release it. But also, I think there was another one that it's kind of a, like the because there's two. There's 941, and then there's like 10 after 10 or something, so that it's sort of like a smiley face.
Yes, like a smile.
941
They
is
did that in,
always
like,
the
Target.
time that your
Yeah.
phone shows when you're doing a thing in demo mode. Like always.
Yeah.
It's
941
not
is
like
always
just
yeah.
today. Like watch
Yeah.
has the 10 out, 10 some at whatever after 10, and the phone has 941 always.
Right, but
Yeah.
I just thought it was ironic that it in the timeline of it actually playing, it
Yeah,
was
I don't
actually
understand
dead on
what
with
that
the
means,
world
'cause
clock.
It was already after 9.
It started
when that
here at
happened.
10. Yeah.
No.
It
And in
started
the
here
East
at
Coast,
10.
it would have been later,
Yeah.
not earlier.
No, well, it wasn't the hour. I was saying, but I was going to say it was 19 minutes before the hour because I
Oh,
immediately
okay.
looked at my watch.
Okay.
Well, they
I
just
was
started
like,
to roll the
that's
video,
insane.
you know, and syncing it.
Maybe in Hawaii? I don't know where that would have been true.
Oops. Yeah.
Well,
Did
I just
anybody?
it's a video thing,
Yeah. Anybody else pay any attention to the Apple Pay Later?
A little
I
bit.
thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm wondering who's going to pay for that, Apple or
Yeah, what is it? Is it a credit? Like,
Goldman Sachs. It's it's
that's
just
what I
credit
was
card
thinking too.
financing.
Yeah,
but wait, but it's without a credit. You don't need.
But no interest.
But
No.
wait, you don't.
If you pay with your Apple Card, you get the option to break it up into 4 payments as opposed to having the whole balance hang out on your card all at once. It could be $100 a month for 4 months, or you pay $400 now.
straight up front. Yeah,
But why can't?
Yeah.
Isn't that always like that? Like,
No.
No.
if I pay
No,
for
like if
something
you
on my
go to-
Apple Card.
If you go buy something from Apple, yes, but this is from other places. So if you go buy something from, Williams Sonoma or something, and like it's $600, you can say, I will either have a $600 payment, or I will have 4 payments that are $150 a whack. And you get the option when you put something over, I don't remember what the limit is, but over a certain dollar amount, then you can have 1 payment or you can have 4 payments.
But can't I just put
And-
$150 on the card at that point and pay $150 a month after that?
you mean
But
like
then
Apple
there's-
Cash? I don't think.
But then there's
so.
interest, and
Well-
then this was interest free, I believe.
Yeah,
So
this is
But was
interest
this
free.
with the Apple Card or was this
Yes.
with Apple Pay?
yes,
Because I
It
thought it
said
was Apple Pay.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I thought,
Apple Pay's
and-
become like just a
So,
big
but-
circle of a lot of.
Right. It was
Things.
Apple Pay. It wasn't the Apple Card. Because you could do this on an Apple Card. That's a credit card. You can pay whatever you want. And
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs doesn't do
Yeah,
interest
but
most of
a
the time.
feature of Apple Pay is, do you want 1 payment or 4 payments now?
Right. So back up. Is that because you can have Apple Pay without a credit card. You could tie it to a debit card, right? So if I pay Williams Sonoma with Apple Pay and not the Apple Card and pay $150,
Yeah,
who's
it's an
insuring me for the other?
it's an Apple Pay
450.
feature. That's all I know. They
Well, nobody's
they
paying.
didn't elaborate
Well,
anything
but
beyond
Warren's
that.
got a
It's
good
just
point that they hand waved over. I assume Williams Sonoma gets their money right away,
Right.
but
Mhm.
apparently Apple is not taking all
it's
the
another
money out of
plan.
Yeah, but is it a credit? I mean, you don't need a credit
We
check.
don't know.
Right. Exactly. You don't need a credit check to
they didn't
have-
say
to use Apple
we
Pay.
don't know.
Right.
But-
No, I
means
think that there was something there that said that there was fine print at the bottom of the card,
Check
the
there's-
electronic card.
Well,
There's-
the interesting part of it, I thought, was that the deliveries will come automatically as part of, if it's Apple paid, that you get delivery tracking on those orders. It's instead of
That
just
was neat.
that part looks cool because
That was
that was different.
having all the other
It's a
apps for tracking deliveries is kind of
Yeah,
hard,
yeah,
and they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
work as well as they could, and all that kind of stuff. So
Except
Yeah,
that
that
that's
piece-
going to require all these other companies to implement
yeah, well,
Apple's
that piece
protocols.
was the more interesting piece of that to me, which is sort of what I liked. So
It seemed like
So
a lot
it
of
is-
their stuff
it
was
is-
stealing from other third-party apps and combining them into theirs.
It is Apple Pay.
welcome,
And it's
Frank.
basically a buy now, pay later feature from Apple. So I think Apple is your credit provider.
My guess is that Goldman Sachs is actually backing that, since Apple already has their agreement with them for the Apple Card, even though
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is separate from Apple Card. And yes, I'm totally making an assumption here, but I think the likelihood that Apple is acting as essentially
As the bank,
as the bank,
the lender.
not likely.
No, they're not.
They're loan sharks.
It's part of yeah.
Powered by
it's
the
fun.
MasterCard network. It's powered by MasterCard. It says nothing.
The
about
MasterCard network.
Goldman Sachs.
Right.
Yeah, it says
Okay.
nothing about Goldman Sachs.
But don't forget. I mean, the credit card companies make something on every
Percent,
transaction.
right.
Yeah, they're
Right.
not dependent on you paying interest. And so, those companies want more people using Apple cards. Apple wants more Apple Pay, and Apple wants
Sure.
more people using Apple Pay. So, they're willing to basically buy it with this. How long it'll last will be the interesting thing to see. But, it certainly makes you say, well, gee, especially for a large purchase, if I can split it out over 4 months with no interest at all,
Why wouldn't you?
why wouldn't you?
I think you may have to turn this on, and at that point, they'll do a credit check on you
Yeah, but then why just get a credit card? I mean, what's the
because
difference?
the credit
No.
card charges
Because it-
interest.
Yeah.
Credit card,
Sometimes Goldman Sachs has been pretty damn good for me, at least, not charging interest a lot. And I think a lot of it was during COVID.
Yeah.
They waived most of my interest fees, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me too.
Oh, yeah, a lot of places did, but I mean, that was a special thing.
It was
You know,
because
you-
called.
You couldn't count on that. This, according to what we know at the moment, at least what I was able to read this afternoon, this is, this is a
Standard
feature of the card and the payment system.
Right.
Not the
So-
card, the Apple Cash. It's not the card. You don't need an Apple. You
Yeah,
don't need to have an
you
Apple
don't
card.
need
to
Apple
use
Card.
this.
You don't do right. It's
It's
It's-
just
it's
a
just
feature
like,
of Apple Pay.
it's like PayPal.
Yeah.
PayPal does it too.
It's
PayPal does a buy
Yeah.
now, pay later.
But right, and
Yeah.
PayPal must use some bank network as a lender to insure them against this, right? So insure people to not pay the remaining three payments. Because that's
I'm
gonna
sure
happen.
it's something similar.
So what happens, right? So what happens if you use it and then break your phone or never use your phone or turn it off? How do they come after you? Somebody's
I
gonna
look
find you.
forward to your report, Warren.
Yep, don't worry,
You
they'll
first.
come after you.
Yeah.
But-
Warren's going to try it out for us.
Yeah, why not?
And the fine print, may be that, okay, if you do not pay it off then in those first 4 free installments, then, you may be paying an ungodly premium penalty kind of thing.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, by all means, go and read the fine print before you engage in any of these activities. So, Apple Pay later. So looking at the time, let's wrap up. And Jeff, I'll point to you because I know you're a big HomeKit user. What did you think of the HomeKit stuff?
Finally, Apple is trying to make a home app that's actually usable. Hooray! And I'm looking forward to the whole Matter integration, like the full integration. That's going to make it so much easier to get more devices into your HomeKit setup. And I'm looking forward to it. I am cautiously optimistic about the new app. But at least Apple realized what they created was hot garbage. So they spun it as, hey, we have this totally new and improved app, as opposed to saying, yeah, we totally screwed it on this app, so we made a new one. But that's what they did. But good, they made a new app. I'm glad.
Okay, yeah, we'll
It
see how-
feels a little like
Yeah.
mail, in that we're going to tell you about all of the new things that the app that we give you will do, that if you were using literally any other third-party app, it's had all of that functionality built into it for years now.
Mhm.
That was kind of what it felt like. And most of the reason I say that is because I have an entire folder devoted to all the apps I have to have on my phone in order to run all this stuff in my house. And it is an endless source of frustration when one of them
Right.
doesn't work. And
Oh, yeah.
and the getting feedback from those sorts of things. And I understand that from a higher level view, that a lot of that has to do with the fact that we haven't settled on a standard yet. The thread Matter stuff is going to hopefully help because a lot of people are contributing to that, and everybody seems to have eventually settled on that. I'm hopeful that that's actually the truth, but it really did sort of feel there may or may not have been some shouting at my house when they were talking about how much better the app is, because my response was, it's not like you could have made it worse. I find the home app endlessly frustrating. And so for them to clear the bar of, when you want the home app to do something, it will do it. Like, that bar should be on the ground. You shouldn't be patting yourself on the back that you cleared it. Like, that's really where I'm at. I've been really hard on the home app for so long because I want it to be better, and Apple is capable of a better experience, and they just haven't given us one. And like, this is another reason I'm sort of considering the not violating my Star Trek film rule of betas, which is only install the even numbered, only bother with the even numbered ones. But this may be the closest I've come in a long time to installing maybe beta 2. I'm usually like a beta 6, beta 8 kind of person, maybe the public track. But I might go developer beta just to get my hands on home and some of the iPad multitasking features. It might be worth it. Because everything that the home app does, I find very frustrating in the home app. And I have found a better way to do every single thing that I do in the home app in a different app, because home app sucks rocks. And that's me being generous to the home app.
Kelly, I installed Dev Beta 1 today on an iPad. So I'll report back to you and let you know what I think of the home app, because I am going to put it through its paces. One of the things that I'm going to be trying is set up automations with things that ought to be able to work together, but don't in the home app. But if you set up the same automations in like Home Plus, they totally set up, although you get these really weird serial number looking names for those automations, because the home app has no clue what to do with those.
I want to see what happens with Matter.
Be a minute.
Me too. But right now the whole thing with lack of interactivity between devices in HomeKit is stunningly frustrating, because it should work. And yet at the same time, it's better than all the other platforms at letting stuff work together.
But it does work if you're just not in the home app. That's the part that I find really frustrating. Like, Home Plus has no problem. And I mean, very, very basic things like, let me name that automation. Don't just have it say at sunset 4 devices. That's not helpful. Do they turn on? Do they turn off? Give me something to go on, and no. And I have a whole lot of opinions about the home app, and I resisted the home app for a long time because it sucked rocks. And then it got a tiny bit better, and I put a few things in there, and then I was even more mad because now I have to use it, and it's just exactly as frustrating as it was before. So this is much like mail. Everything else gives you scheduled send. Now we do too. Aren't we amazing? You're welcome. Like, no, that's the wrong approach. And that's kind of what they're giving us. And so,
Okay.
So far, I can tell you that I have not been in any of my homes in my home app since installing this beta, but it told me a lot faster than normal, the stuff that was absolutely not responding. So there's that.
Okay, that's a plus.
Yay.
Right.
Okay.
So next week we can expect to see those nice blue lights that are behind Jeff cycling through all kind of colors and patterns and everything.
The rainbow.
And we will blame it on beta.
It'll all be Beta's fault.
It'll all
like
be
a
Beta's fault.
jumbotron.
Yeah. Hey, I lied. I was going to wrap up with that, but there was one other thing I wanted to just touch on, and that, Brittany, I'm going to give it to you. The lock screen customizations. Is that a good thing, or is that going to be a problem for those of us who are easily distracted?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It has the promise to be either. And if you're really good at letting things just happen by default, it could end up being a bit of one of those something shows. But if you have if you're conscientious about it, it has the potential to be really cool. It looks pretty cool when you first launch it. It did change my background wallpaper behind my apps, which I don't love. And now it's the background behind my notifications still, which I again do not love. But if you let your notifications list of unaddressed things get really long, it's just going to be even more cramped up and you won't have any idea what are the old ones. But you won't have to look at them either. So pick one. I do think it will really reward people who cultivate what their lock screens look like really carefully. It will reward those people. It will do very mixed things for the people who just let stuff happen naturally, is my guess. But we'll see how it goes.
Sworn, what did everybody think of Safety Check?
To me, that was the single most important announcement of the day.
Same.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
I appreciated how they handled it. It was direct. It wasn't, look how amazing we are for doing
How's
this.
it going to work?
Was, here's the thing. Here's what we're doing. Here's who we worked with to do it. It's a thing that's happening. Now we're moving on to the next item.
So when somebody's tracking you, like if a husband is tracking you, how does this work? You turn it off and
It's
then
somehow
you're
encoding,
not
isn't it?
tracking you. Like, isn't that the same thing as just turning off? Can't you
Not
just
necessarily,
What's the
because there's
difference?
data shared with a lot of different apps through a lot of different services.
Mhm.
So again, some of this is going to be related to if the developers use the APIs correctly and stuff, which is my fear, but we will see. But it gives you the option to see all the share items. So if my location is not just shared with that partner, but also with, I don't know what the current things are, but pretend like it's a long time ago, it's Swarm. And so I could take it away from there. Like, so it lets you see theoretically all of the places that private information is shared, not just your location.
Right. For the abused people, my take was,
right,
if somebody's tracking you with Find My, both parties know that Find My is on at that point, because that's
potentially it depends on if both people involved are as technically savvy.
Yeah, but
whereas
even,
if there's this one spot to look at and you can go to a shelter and they can help you find what are the settings, because they've learned, okay, on an iPhone, these are now the places we look for, and we can help walk you through that. Whereas before, your best option was really just to leave that phone behind, and now you have no way to contact people.
Right. No, it's definitely a good thing to give them the power to figure out where it is. But my question is, the person who's stalking them is going to know that you're at that point that they're not tracking you anymore.
If you look at it, but it doesn't notify you when somebody stops letting you see them.
Yeah. There's
but it does. Yeah, same with Find My doesn't do that either.
I mean, the biggest thing out of this is the part that they call emergency reset, which is you hit that and nobody who had access to anything tied to your iCloud account has it anymore. The end. Everybody, 100%. Everyone is kicked out of everything. That shared note, that shared photo album, those passwords, your location, everything.
Like, you don't
all
know.
of it, everyone's kicked out, period. And if nothing else, having that is a very useful thing. Now, is this gonna permanently put an end to every abusive relationship? It is not. Is it going to put an end to violence against people who are trying to leave abusive relationships? It is not. Is it going to make it a little bit harder for some people to be able to continue to commit acts of violence against other people? Yes.
I just assume they would have, in the past, before this feature, just wiped their phone. And in fact, I'm sure of it. Like they came to somebody.
But then you don't have access to your stuff, or the people who might still. I mean, in many situations, you have been manipulated into not having a lot of outside relationships that would be the supportive kind, and only the kind who might side with the abuser. But
we're going.
But
I'm
if
all,
there is
I'm
still
all
somebody
for it.
that's friendly to you, you can
I
still
don't want to give you
contact them.
Yeah, I'm totally all for this. I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of how it's actually.
If you wipe the phone,
Because wiping it, you've lost all of your information.
Photos.
Yeah, obliteration is scorched earth for your phone. If you're trying to get out, is bad, because any of the information you had that could be useful is no longer useful. So having Safety Check, where you can go through and look at who has access to what, and then additionally having emergency reset, which just nukes everybody else's access to anything of yours. Between those two things, it's going to be helpful. And yeah, somebody's going to take away someone else's access to see my location at any given point, and that could end up escalating a situation. But it was going to escalate a situation, and at least now the abused person has a communicator that they can continue to use and access to all of the information upon it that they can continue to use. And the other person does not.
In my mind, at first, I'm like, you turn this on and the phone location stays where you want it to stay, even when you take your phone with you. And that would be the perfect scenario, but you can't do that, right? Because you got kids and you got other things going on, right? Yeah. Because in perfect world, there would be a setting that says, make my phone appear like I'm here in my house where I should be and not somewhere else. But that's going to be a hard sell, because
in a perfect world, we don't need this feature.
In a perfect world, in a perfect world, there's no safety check requirement that anybody needs to worry about. So,
and it comes back down to this.
If the phone had a feature that where you could spoof its location, that would be abused too.
That opens a door to a whole other thing. Like, what you do is you borrow somebody else's iPhone 4, and you plug it into a 30-pin cable in the attic, and you say, share my location from this device, and you just leave it sitting there. And that's the best, that's the best.
To your point, people aren't that technical, and that's crazy more technical to do than the alternate.
But at the end of the day, we're back to the same thing. It's a tracker. Okay. That's what it does. And it does it really, really well. It's the human factor that is abusing it. And so we can try, and Apple and some others are trying a lot of things to protect people. But, at the end of the day, if somebody makes off with my backpack while I'm traveling with the gear that I usually carry around in it, I want the darn tracker to work. That's why I bought it. So I'm not going to be happy if Apple or anyone else implements something that says, well, but under these circumstances, it won't do this or won't do that. No, I want to track the damn thing. That's what, I bought it for.
Yeah.
It's a two-way street, right?
And one of the things we need this to do is to be really simple, because in any situation where somebody has undergone really intense chronic stress, like somebody who has been in an abusive situation would be experiencing, you do not have access to the same level of higher level cognition as you do if you are not in that kind of situation. And so to expect somebody to follow a lot of intricate instructions in that state is not realistic at all. It needs to be easy, because at least until that chronic stress gets shut off for a little bit and there's some recuperation, you cannot think through things the same way as you can when you're not in a situation like that. It needs to be easy.
I'm surprised they didn't bring up anything with the AirTags during that spiel.
It was all about the AirTags, and we all knew it. But I'm really happy that the AirTags inspired this other feature.
Right. They addressed.
I mean, we've that's well covered territory here, because we've talked about it here, and you're never going to get around somebody who wants to use technology for evil. Because the problem with technology is always people.
For them.
Right.
We can
that's the thing.
A little more complicated, but we can't ever eliminate the part that's going to make people want to do something nefarious with.
So weakest link in technology is the human.
Yeah, with whatever weapon they have available. Sometimes it's a gun, sometimes it's a phone, sometimes it's a bat. Whatever
Jim,
it is.
I think Jim posted a story about the AirTag in the car and the woman, right, the other day.
Yeah, we're not going to redo that again. More.
No,
it's just
it's like time to go.
Anything that makes it easier for people to. Yeah. Anything that makes it easier for somebody to get out of that relationship, and like I said, it was the way they handled it that I really appreciated, which was this is uncomfortable. And it's a thing that we wish we didn't have to do. Here are the options. Here are some people we have worked with in order to make this something that is actually useful to people who need it. And here's another, now we're going to move on to the next feature that we've added to iOS 16. Right. And I appreciated their direct. Right. Yeah. I appreciated their direct plain speaking on it. Yeah.
There's going to be people trying to rip it apart and trying to figure out how it works and how
Well,
it's
of
not going to
course.
work and how it's going to be
Well,
dangerous
yeah,
or how
because
it's not going to be dangerous and the whole thing.
this
So just
doesn't this doesn't eliminate bad guys. It was never going to. And
Okay,
people who want to do
guys,
something bad are going to.
I'm going to move us on because it's time to go. We're already over time, no matter how hard I try.
Yes.
Guys,
we're over.
thanks very much. We could spend another couple hours because we touched on some of the things that I'm glad we touched on everything I thought was important, plus some things that I didn't have on my card. So I'm glad we did. Going to run around the room, let folks know where they can find you, and then we're going to get out of here. And I'm going to switch it up this time, go in reverse. So Kelly, that puts you up first. Thanks for sharing. Where can you be found?
You can find me over at theslice.net. Just today, you can find me at The Slice's YouTube channel, where Brittany and I did a couple of live streams earlier today, talking about the highlights in macOS and the highlights in iOS that came from today's announcements. And I will be talking to other people throughout the week, and you will be able to find all of those over at the YouTube channel and posted at theslice.tech. There's a very excellent chance that I will be on In Touch with iOS later this week as well. And I mean, odds are really pretty high that that's probably going to happen.
You got connections?
But also the rest of the time you can find me on Twitter as Verso.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
When I'm not swearing at my lights, let me at the lights in my home app. When I'm not swearing at those, you can find me on Twitter.
Brittany, thank you for being here. Folks don't need an air tag to find you. They can find you at. How was that for a segue?
Nice.
Nice one.
The Liberator on
done.
Twitter and on YouTube. That's ad lib. I say it ad liberator, but it's really like, liberating ADD. Anyway, that's it. Here, Twitter, YouTube. That's the thing.
Great. Thanks, Brett. Good to see you. Mr. Petrie, thank you for being here. Where is the best place for folks to connect with you?
Here on Tuesday nights, you can find me online at www. I forgot so many W's. YMPnow.com. You can find me on Twitter at FPetrie, and I write a monthly review for Screencast Online Magazine.
Great. Thank you, Frank.
Some guy named Don.
Don, yeah, I remember him. Don.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Mr. Sklar, I see that a dog just walked through your picture, so I imagine you're in demand.
I'm always in demand. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Where can folks find you?
Here, I won't be able to join Dave with the podcast, unfortunately, because it's going to be on a Friday. Mac to Future webpage was jumping with excitement. All the excitement you could ever want from Keynote. And that's about it. I'm going to be at the Mac Stock, by the way. I didn't tell everybody, but I am going to be there. So just for the Sunday, and that should be fun. Good to be here. Yep.
Great. Thanks so much. Jeff Gamet, we expect new color lights out of you next week. Maybe a disco beat or something.
All right. So the bar has been set and the pressure is on. Hey, Chuck, you did an amazing job of managing this bag of kittens. I mean, clearly we all have opinions and are not afraid to share them. And yet you still managed to steer us to the end of the show. So well done.
Thank you.
All right. So you can find me Twitter and Instagram, jgamet on both, youtube.com/jgamet for my occasional videos. And let's see. Where
Context
else?
Machine.
Thank you. Context Machine with Brian Chaffin.
Context Machine. Waiting for that new episode.
Did the new episode go up? I've been so busy I haven't checked. But anyhow. Oh, great.
No, it still isn't out there.
Okay. Well, there should be an episode up. I will look into that. And let's see. The Big Show on Thursdays, the Mac Show on Fridays, and In Touch with iOS with Dave this Friday. And I think I'm on other podcasts this week too. I'm kind of losing track.
Oh, okay. So folks, just every hour, Google Jeff
Turn on
Gamet.
your
Just
computer.
Google me.
Jeff
It's
will be
easier.
there.
Yeah,
Easy
yeah,
to find him.
you'll find him somewhere.
Jeff will wake you up in the morning.
Thank you.
Easier for everybody. Yeah.
Jim Ray, our resident developer, thank you so much for all your behind the scenes thoughts. Where can folks find you?
I'll be in my closet watching WWDC videos.
Sounds good.
Come out of the closet, Jim.
You can find me at www.provue.com. It's PROVUE for the long story reason. And also on Twitter at ProViewJim, same spelling.
Great. Thank you again.
Oh, and I want to mention, like, in addition to what we've been talking about, there also was a whole nother State of the Union thing in the afternoon for developers that was also action-packed. So check that out because it was wall to wall.
Yeah, save that. We'll kick that around next week.
Yeah.
Last but absolutely not least, and I see him doing what I was doing. He's dragging handfuls of cables out so he can connect everything and power it tonight. In his
I
hotel
need to
room.
charge it up. Yeah, I got them all here.
Yeah, mine are already over there.
Yeah.
David Ginsburg, thank you for being here from your hotel room. Where can folks catch up with you?
When I'm not in a hotel room, I'm actually in touch with iOS at intouchwithios.com. Because I'm out of town this week, we'll have to push it up a day, so it'll be Friday. And YouTube channels, youtube.com/DaveG65. I'm on the Mac Show on Fridays as well. I'm sure we'll be talking about our poker results for WWDC, as well as you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you, David. Folks, I want to especially thank the chat room. I couldn't possibly keep up with all the comments there, but thank you for throwing them all out. There were a lot of good insight, a lot of opinions, just like you would expect. And thank you for joining us on this special night because it had to do both with David's travel, my travel, and scheduling, but also the fact that we wanted to get something in the can just as WWDC was starting to ramp up. So this will get released a little bit later this week. You can look for that, and we will be back next Tuesday at the normal time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Again, Tuesday. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is MacVoices Live. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.